They're spent. All right. Hell yeah, there's a lot of people here today. Egg salad's here.
What
John's
up?
here. Jason's here. Oh yeah. Joe's here.
Bumper cheese.
Michael Rice. Melissa. Moldavite. Carmen.
No.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. How we doing?
Doing good.
Chilling, chilling.
Hell yeah. I've been crazy today. So much fucking work all the time. Lots of work, no sleep ever.
Ah,
As you can see, I've got like so many can you guys see that? All the bags on my floor.
Damn.
Yeah, that's like my whole house is full of them right now. Oh man, it's getting wild up in here. Sending a bunch of inoculated grain to DC, to Washington DC, because I guess they got the green light to just grow over there. So good for me.
Right.
Yeah,
All
their
right,
edibles suck.
just trying to figure this thing out. Cool. Who's popped an agar pin on their plates yet?
Who what?
Moldavite has.
what'd you say?
Moldavite. So anybody on their plates that we've transferred have any pins growing? I don't have any.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
I have two.
Yep,
Damn.
you have two of them. Cool.
Nice.
So you need to transfer one of those. This is what I'm going to do. I've actually got
No.
a couple of pins that I need to transfer anyways. So we can go over that. And then obviously we can do it again. I don't see really a point in doing more transfers from our multi-spore right now. I think that any day they're all going to start pinning. And hopefully next week everybody's got a pin that we can clone. But there's no point in just using all of our plates for, we've already done a few good transfers. Yeah, so last week, this is my plate. If you remember, we were testing to see if there were any monocultures, right? Because these two looked like a mon, and that one and this one were separate. So as you can see, these two right here, they've grown together nicely. I took a transfer from each side of the culture on the other plate just to test and see if both sides were the same set of genetics, and they are, as well as these two on this side that I transferred. They grew together nicely. That tells me that that's a monoculture as well. And then if you see in the middle where they're meeting, they're colliding, and they create that sector. So that tells me I have two different monocultures on that plate. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Right? We
Yep.
went over that pretty thoroughly, I think. And that's an important skill to have, to be able to look at something and know that as long as it's a stable culture, you're going to pretty much get the same results every time. I'd still like to grow a fruit on these just because when you do clone, there's more fruiting genetics in, and it's no longer the same culture. For some reason, it changes, but it's a monoculture. It's just a different one. I don't know how or why that works. I could never really find an answer, but when it fruits, it changes. And that's why cloning's so important, because it just seems as long as you do it properly, your culture just gets better and better and better as you do it. So cool. So only Moldavite has an agar pin. Let's see.
Did we start a tree? Yeah.
And I've got some hyphal knots forming on my original swab plate. They haven't grown yet. And technically I could transfer one of those little guys. I don't know if you guys can see them. Let me make my screen bigger. Like right. I don't know if it's going to be able to see them. Anyways, there's little tiny white dots on there. Those will turn into fruits. A lot of times if you have a culture that has a hard time fruiting, if you let it sit on the plate for long enough, at the very least, it'll grow one of those hyphal knots, and you can actually transfer one of those, and it will make give your culture stronger fruiting genetics. It's not quite the same as a fruit, but it still works. So,
I got some knots, no pins.
Yeah, same here.
what's that?
So I got some knots, no pins, and this is on a different plate. I'm about to behind y'all because I missed the first two,
Yeah, yeah.
but one that I did about a week and a half, or maybe 2 weeks before we started. But
So
I
you've
got
got
knots.
some growing on there?
I got some knots all over this plate.
Yeah,
Blue,
yeah.
tongue.
So next week should be pretty cool. Hopefully we have one, a big fatty growing. So this is what I'm going to do. This is actually a cross that I just made, and I'm super stoked about this phenotype that it's growing. This says mag on it because that it's the name of it's Steel Magnum, and I haven't released it yet. I've grown it out before, but I decided that I want something better from it, so I'm running it again, and I think that this one's going to do it. So there's one of the phenotypes that popped. So it's Tidal Wave and Tidal Wave 4 and Steel Magnolia. Dude, the caps look so cool. I'm stoked. And then here's the other one, another one of them. It's got a really dark cap. This one really looks like it has a lot of the Steel Magnolia traits. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and clone one from each of these plates and show you guys how we do it. Just so that when we do transfer, everybody's more prepared.
Quick question. How do you do a cross between two strains?
How do you do a cross? Who asked the question?
Joe?
Oh, what's up, Joe?
Hey,
Well, there's like a million ways to skin that cat. Um, quiet, Roundup. Hey, dog, come here. You, keep it down. You, come here.
Puppy. Oh,
Um,
it's not. No, it's not your puppy.
yeah. Technically, is what you would do. The traditional way is you want one spore from one strain and then one spore from another strain, and those spores will grow out what's called a monokaryotic culture, monokaryotic mycelium. And monokaryons are sterile. It's like basically there's not a male and a female spore, but each of them have several different sexualities. Fungus is fucking weird. We're not going to get into all that. So one monokaryon needs to connect with another monokaryon from the same species, right? So two different cubenses, but different strains. And then they share genetic information. This technically isn't the mating process. The mating process happens in the mushroom that they grow when it produces new spores. Then those spores carry on traits of both of the parents that we use, right? Does that make sense? So two monokaryons grow together here, just like this. Now, one sec. So, monokaryotic mycelium is weird looking. It's super fluffy, super tomentose, but it can have little bits of rhizo in it. It's kind of like a mix. It has its own vibe. That's what I like to. I can tell pretty much almost always just by looking at a culture if it's monokaryotic, just because they have a certain look. So this was isolated from one spore. This one, don't pay attention to this one. This one's actually the same as this one. After I had done this transfer, I decided to do another transfer to make it closer to this, just so it would happen faster. After I did it, I was like, man, I moved those way too far apart. So this is actually steel magnolia, and this is leucistic swamp ghost. They've grown together. You see, it created a sector, but then it started to grow together in certain parts. And is what happened is you see up here, the genetic information got traded back and forth, and I can see another sector shooting off right there too. You guys see that?
Yeah.
That's a strain, but it's going to be the exact same as this because there's only two mons that have made it, created one dikaryon. So if I was to take a transfer from this rhizo right here, that's the new strain. I could grow that out and I would know exactly what it is I'm working with. So I haven't transferred that yet. I typically like to wait until it pops a pin and then clone that just so I'm not wasting my time, right? I like my cultures to fruit. I like to get some weight off of them no matter what. So yeah, that's a successful mating. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so basically we're doing this process like from spores. So like after I do all the transfers and I get monoculture, or is it a monokaryon?
So a monokaryon and a monoculture are two different things. Monoculture means just one culture. Monokaryon means one karyon. So a karyon is a single set of genetics, right? So a dikaryon is two monos. That means it's carrying two sets of genetics. When we say the word monoculture, it's actually a monokaryon, meaning it's one dikaryon. So
Okay.
does that make sense? So a
Yeah, so
monoculture, a dikaryotic culture is still a culture.
yeah.
So when we put the spore swab, we'll go back to the very beginning. Okay. So you take your swab, you put it on agar, you've got 1,000 spores,
Mm-hmm.
right? So theoretically, you're going to have 500 different crosses. If each one of those spores mates with another one. So to start, we have 1,000 spores that will grow into 1,000 monokaryotic cultures. They will clamp and mate with another spore. So now we have 500 dikaryotic cultures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we start cutting into it, each time we take a piece and cut into a sector and transfer it and grow it out, the first time, let's say you only take 250 of those dikaryotic cultures with you to the next plate. Then the next plate, there's only 100. Then the next plate, there's 20. And then the next plate, now you have 1. That's your monoculture. Your monoculture will fruit because it is mated. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then, how do you know what to take from each culture? Like, if I have 2 strains, how do I know what to take from each, or does it not matter? Like, I could just take a piece from each and put it on
It's
agar and then see if they mate.
Yeah, so it's hit or miss. How I isolate single spores. I actually did a video. It's posted on the growalong. It was uploaded from YouTube. It's like a link that I shared from YouTube, but I think that the title of it is How to Isolate a Monokaryotic Culture Without Dilution or a Microscope.
Okay.
So this is what I basically did. I would take a swab, right? I actually need to make one right now, so we're in luck. This will be really easy. And anybody can do this. Crossing strains is not complicated. It's whoever wants to give you a bunch of bullshit, man, to go along with it. They either don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and I don't mean to be offensive to anybody, and I'm not talking trash on anybody, or they just don't want you to know. Because it's as easy as this. Check this out, guys. I pressed the wrong button. Shit. Yeah.
If you can't explain it easily and simply, you probably don't understand it yourself.
You're probably right. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So here is a swab. With spores on it. And whenever I grow out a culture and I get fruits, I like to swab every single one of them at least once and keep a set just to have the genetics on spore in case something was to happen, like a nuclear apocalypse or something, right? And you're the only person in the world left with spores. And then I like to take a monoculture just so I have it, or a monokaryon. I like to isolate them on just so I can have it in my library in case I ever want to cross it to something. This is how I like to open my swabs also. I don't know where my scissors are, but I like to break that so that I'm not flinging that swab around everywhere, contaminating it somehow. So I'll set this right here. And these are my tweezers. These are lab tweezers. See how big they are? They work great. You can get them on Amazon. They're like $10. Spray it with hydrogen peroxide. Make sure I get my hands. Then I'm going to take my torch, sterilize the tips of these bad boys. This is the plate I'm transferring to. Cool that down. Ooh, almost burned myself. Okay. Now, here's my swab. I'm going to take just a pinch off that. Now, the less I have, the better, because that gives me more of a chance of actually isolating a single spore. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to dig it in, and I'm just going to drag it, kind of Zorro that bad boy. And somewhere in there, a spore or two has gotten left behind throughout that drag. Easy as that. So within the next 24 to 48 hours, I'm going to check this in 24 hours. I'm going to look all over where I drug that for little satellite colonies, is what it looks like, where a spore has germinated, and I see a little speck of mycelium. Then I'm going to take my scalpel, and I'm going to go in and surgically, and very quickly too, because if there's another spore nearby it that you can't see, and it touches it, then it's clamped, and you no longer have a mono. So you have to get it before it mates with something else. So you want to take a very small piece also. Hurry and transfer it as soon as you see it, all of them. And yeah, then you'll most likely, and this is like I've said many times before, I don't ever remember not getting a mono, even from the first time that I tried this. I think that I'm like 100% success rate. I might have not, I don't remember, but as far as I can remember, it's been 100%. So, yeah, as easy as that. And then so you could take another strain. Say you have golden teacher. Do the same thing with that, and then you can take both of those cultures as they grow out from whatever plate that you put them on. They grow out, transfer a piece to a new plate with the golden teacher monokaryon. Let them grow together. Wait until it shows that sector that you're looking for, like right there. Cut that out, and you can grow that. Now you have a new strain.
So are you gonna cut that sector out and put it on agar and then grow that out on agar and then put it to grain?
Yeah, so I'm going to grow it out on agar or just leave it there until it grows a pin. And then I'm going to transfer that pin to a new plate. And that's the mycelium. The mycelium that grows from that is the mycelium that I'll put to a liquid culture and then to grain and then grow. But you don't have to do that. I prefer to do that just because I want to make sure that what I'm growing is definitely going to be on the stronger fruiting side. And that's what happens when you clone. You get more fruiting genetics. So that's why I like to always pop a pin. SDW, Mon, cool. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, easy as that, dude. And so you could grow that out, and it might be the bombest culture ever. Like you could run it and just grow pounds on demand, right? But the thing is, you don't necessarily, that's the parent culture, because like I said, you haven't gone back to spore yet to where both of the parent spores, DNA is in all of the spores. If you were to break that dikaryon, you would have the golden teacher and the whatever you crossed it with again. They would split and be exactly what they were before they clamped. So you need to go back to spore. And now when you go back to spore and you grow that out, that's what we call the F1, the first filial generation. The F1 is going to show lots of random traits from both parents. So is what you want to do is you want to clone and isolate that culture until you find the pheno that you originally liked so much in the previous culture, right? And then you're going to grow that out, continue to grow it, make sure it's stable. Then you're going to take spores from that and grow those out again. Now you're on F2. Each time you do this, as long as you're searching for that same pheno and stabilizing it and continuing to breed the spores from that particular mushroom that you want your strain to look like, it becomes more stable. And usually they say around 7 generations is when your culture is stable. I don't know where that came from because you can have a stable culture at F2, or it could take 20 times before it's stable. Some cultures are just never stable, and some cultures stabilize really fast. So, any questions on that, guys?
No, sir.
Cool. All right, I'll go back to here then. So, here we go.
I have a question.
What's up, Liz?
Um, have we only actually made 2 transfers so far?
3.
3. Okay, I'm behind.
You're all right.
And when you did the third transfer, how did you do it?
That's when I had two pretty much, they were pretty obvious, 2 different monocultures growing on the same plate. Here, I'll show you.
So just to clarify, 2 different monocultures are segmented when they meet.
Yeah,
Like
say that again, brother.
So just to clarify, when you have 2 different monocultures on a plate, they collide. They don't meet. They don't. They
Yeah,
don't.
no, they won't mate because they've already mated with their 2 monokaryons,
Okay.
right? Does that make sense? Once it's mated, that's why you can't take mycelium from one strain and then mycelium from another strain. And theoretically, you can't just mate them, right? Because they've already mated with another. You can't take a golden teacher culture that you buy off the Moon Daddy store, put it on agar, and then take a steel magnolia culture that you bought off the store, put it to agar, and then grow them together in mate. It doesn't work like that because they've already mated. Now there are, in some circumstances, DNA that can be exchanged through different vectors, but for the most part, a dicaryon's a dicaryon and it's already mated. There are ways that you can break the dikaryon. It's called de-dicaryotization, to where you now have split the dikaryon, so now you have both monos again. And then you can do that to another culture, and then you can mate them that way. It's a that's a badass way to do things because you know that the culture that you grow from those, as long as the cultures that you mated are already, say, your champion racehorses in your library, you know you're getting the offspring from the champion racehorse, the 2 champion racehorses. You're not getting your offspring from 2 champion racehorses' children, right? You're not getting the grandchildren to the champions. You're getting the actual children. So, yeah, let's see. I can't find that freaking plate. Oh, here it is. All right, Liz. So this is I can't really see where I took the transfers, but there you go, Liz. So this was 2 transfers. As you can see, they grew together nicely, right? And then these 2 are colliding with this one. And then these ones are growing together. So
So you have,
I took 2 from each one, from each side, and verified I have two different cultures.
okay.
See that?
So you have 4, not just 2.
Yeah. So I took a transfer from each side. So 2 transfers from one culture, from 2 different cultures. So 4 transfers overall.
Okay. Okay. That's what I'll get to work and do tonight then.
Yeah. Just try to see the sectoring, the ones that are growing together. See if you
Uh-huh.
can take a piece from each side of those and then grow those together, because on the other side, you might have another set of genetics that hasn't showed itself yet. Does that make sense? So that's kind of how you verify that you do have a monoculture without using a microscope.
Okay. Awesome.
You
Okay.
see
I
how that
see that.
works?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
like how a baby or an egg like would be sectored off,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yep. Perfect.
Cool. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So because that they all mesh together in T3, does that mean your T2 was a monoculture?
So a T2 a lot of times has so many sets of genetics floating around in it that you can't tell yet.
Okay. But
Um,
you took all those transfers for T3 from T2 and they all mesh together, right?
Say that again.
On your T3 plate, you took all those transfers from T2.
Yep.
So then
Yeah.
T3 all mesh together. So does that mean that T2 was a monoculture?
So there were two monocultures on T2, and I verified that on T3. And
Oh, so okay, so I'm only on T1 right now and I finished. So am I taking two from T1 and putting them on one plate for T2?
I would do that right now. Yeah, I would kind of work. I would go around. Um, I think that I made a video for this for the people who missed that one, but I did what was called the clockwork method. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, I think what I did was I messed up.
So I went from 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you can just using that method going around, you're ensuring that you're getting a diverse bunch of group of genetics, right? That you can grow out on the next plate.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And then that's when, usually after you do this, as long as you take from the outer edge, this is grown out over my transfers, obviously, but take from
Hmm.
that outer edge, you're limiting the gene pool each time you take a piece.
Okay.
Um, and then when you grow those out on the next plate, you're going to start to see sectoring.
Okay.
And I mean, I've done this so many times for so long, I should have taken bigger pieces, but I mean, I had a monoculture on my, two monocultures on my second transfer. I should have, but I mean, what can you do? It's too late now. But if you're good enough, you can get a monoculture in one transfer, theoretically. Just learning to see. And I'm going to make a video showing sectoring. And I'm pretty sure it might have been last time where I really went over it. I don't remember when it was, but I know there's a video on there somewhere where we talked. Somebody asked how to see the sectoring and be able to identify it that way.
Yeah, I feel like on one of
Yeah,
my
I think that
plates,
was last week.
Yeah.
I feel like on one I can see four different sectors, but then I have this one where all looks pretty uniform.
Here, let
I
me
don't
see.
know.
Let me pull you up. Here, I'm
I know
pulling it
what
up right now.
I know what happened personally for me. I think I missed the video in between our first transfer and the third transfer because on the second transfer I did ones, but I didn't do four.
Okay, one sec, Liz. Yeah, so I would take, you've got a lot going on in there. I would probably take from 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock on that. And
Okay.
just kind of set them together like that, where you just got the different transfers and let them grow together. And if you do that, as long as you take from that outer edge, just little pieces, right? The little
Hmm.
piece that's grown out further than the rest, that way you know that the piece you're taking is a little bit faster than everything else, right? If you want
Okay.
something fast as well. and then grow those out next to each other, and then your next plate should be showing you a lot.
Okay.
Cool. What's up, Liz?
I was just saying, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good.
That I think I figured out what happened personally for me is I missed the second video. So I did the initial first transfer, but I skipped the second transfer and then did the third. But I only did it in 3 pieces, not 4. So, and it's still not, I'm like holding it up here, so you might even be able to see it now.
Yeah, let me check it.
Out. So I didn't do it in 4ths like you did.
The 3 is fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
they're
missed
looking
the,
good.
or the second transfer.
Yeah. So I would go ahead and whatever one is growing the fastest out of all of those, go ahead and take a few transfers off of that one.
Okay.
From around. You want the one that's, you don't want the ones that are going slower. And when you're isolating from spore, it's easier to leave the crappy ones behind. You know what I
Right.
mean? The ones that are healthy and vigorous, keep transferring until you get that culture that you want.
Right.
And then you got,
Okay.
I mean, these are
Well,
I could grow these out. They'd be great. I guarantee it. They're doing great. But I want to clone a pin. So we're just patiently waiting.
right. So I have another question though. Um, should I go ahead and maybe go back to the first plate that we did? Because look how that one is growing out since the transfers that I took from it. It looks way healthier than even the transferred plates I did.
So as it grows out, um, that diversity is kind of splitting, right? So it's easier to see. It's not that it's healthier, it's that it's grown out and covering more space, so there's less genetics, right, that are grouped together, so you can start to see the sectoring. Your transfers on the plate that you took are going to be better than that one. Yeah,
Okay.
but if you want, I mean, go ahead and do whatever you want. Experiment. I encourage everybody. Yeah, if you want to go back to your spore plate and see if you can't find a different pheno, why not? There's probably
Right.
1,000 different phenotypes on each one of those spore plates that we're never going to see.
Right.
You know?
They're looking so good. The transfers that I did, you can't really see them, but they're just they don't have any good, good Rizzo.
Mini rhizo.
Yeah, I mean,
That middle one looks good. When did you transfer those?
um,
What day did you transfer those?
I put the second because that's the day the class was, but on the 4th.
Oh, that was on the 4th of this month?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, go ahead and take a transfer from your multispore then. See if you can't take a little piece from that outer edge.
Okay.
And here's somebody.
Sorry, that was me.
John.
That's my teacher.
Oh, cool. Nice to meet you. Nice to see your face, Carmen.
Yeah, I actually do have a question. So I got a swab a while ago and I put it to agar and I just did like, just a trace to see. Nothing's really growing on it yet. And
Yeah,
it's been
swabs are
well
a
over
big.
a month.
Who did you get it from? If you don't mind.
Um,
That's not important. I'm just hoping it wasn't from me. If it's not
no, no,
growing.
no. No, it
Okay.
wasn't. But like I heard that sometimes you can add like sterile water to like the agar to maybe get some of the spores to I
So
actually just watched
I
that
hear
today on
stuff
a
like that too, and I hear the term water agar. I don't even know what that is. I hear it all the time. Um, I think that a lot of the times that type of stuff is good for noobs to get a feel for it because it's easy to become impatient or to make a mistake somewhere. And I don't know, it's kind of like a safety net maybe. So I don't ever do that. I never have a problem germinating spores just using regular agar. But what I do is I'll break it off how I showed you before, and I'll push it against the agar until it goes in, and then it goes under, and then I just leave it, and that right there will germinate. A lot of times it looks like there's spores around the outside of it, and there might be, but they're stuck together from pieces of tissue from the gills, or it could just be the bluing and there's no spores there really, and you streak it and nothing gets left behind. So it's good to just leave that whole piece in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I actually did that with another swab I got. Um, and the swab actually, so it started spreading, but around like the tip of the Q-tip, it was all black and then white.
Okay. Wow. Is it mycelium though? It's growing?
Honestly, on the edge it is, but I don't know. It just looked kind of funny. And when in doubt, I was like, well, maybe I should just throw it out. I mean,
It sounds like there's a
but
contaminant on there. It
yeah,
could be a mold spore that germinated, and then the
actually,
mycelium's kind of piggybacking on it, and it's fighting itself. That's fairly normal with swabs, just because they're dirty. You know, you got to stick your Q-tip inside of the
yeah,
mushroom.
that's why. Well, and that's why I was like, well, I think I still have it. I can show you. Let me grab it.
Yeah, yeah. I can see, like, who knows? Yeah, you guys don't know who I'm looking at. I'm like, what up, Jay? But Jay doesn't know I'm looking at it. Crazy. You're the man, Jason.
Nah, you the man.
I do what I can.
We get by with a little help from our friends.
That's true.
Yeah, I got a quick question. I don't know how many of you guys are smokers, but I kind of smoke like in my basement, and I built a closet in my basement as my grow room, and I'm wondering if that affects anything. I haven't had much to deal with contamination. I've had one or two here and there, but I was just wondering if that could cause a problem.
I haven't noticed anything so far.
Okay, yeah, not I was just wondering the thoughts you have after a joint.
Yeah, I think they like it.
Yeah,
They like it.
I blow big old fucking clouds in the tub.
they like it and music. They like both.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
play music all
I play music for mine all the time, and I also play thunder sounds.
Thunder sounds.
So
There you go.
yes.
There's
So
yeah,
this is the. It's probably hard to see the plate. No, of course, you could see like my reflection, but see how it kind of grew out like that?
yeah. That's that looks like just straight up mold.
Yeah.
Some black mold. So there was something on the swab. It's really tricky to get swabs when buying swabs or even using swabs. There's not many people who are really good at doing swabs, I've noticed, and I'm not the best at it either, to be honest.
I like to make mine from prints. If I make mine from a print, it seems to be cleaner that way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I haven't had a dirty swab yet from a print that I
yeah,
made
yeah, and then
myself.
swab it
That's
on the
actually a
print.
really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I just swab the tip, just get the very tip because you don't need much. And then when I do my grab and drags like you've done, I was successful with my golden teacher and my natalensis grab and drag. I got like 5 other ones now. I'm waiting on some golden halo, white tail feathers. Um, oh, what's the other ones? Anyways, I've got some other ones over there too that I'm hoping will germinate the next couple days. And then I have 3 spores. Those spores I won from dichotomous keys, that chocolate crinkle times iceberg, and the Jack Defrost, which is like a Jack Frost revert kind of. I got those. I just stuffed them into agar like you're talking about, and they're busting out all over the place. I'll put them
Yeah,
on the grains hopefully soon.
yeah, I know a lot of people they prefer to do their swabs from prints. I just never have time. I don't know. I've actually never done a lot of swabs, like as far as doing like swabs to get out to people until I started vending. I would just randomly do it to, do a grab and drag. before, and then I throw it away. But nowadays,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
stacking up in the library, trying to be more responsible with shit. So,
right.
but there's definitely techniques to it, you know, whether you're doing it from a spore print, which is probably sounds like the best way to do it, or
It
you
just
know,
to me it seems it's easier to be sanitary that way because I know
yeah,
if I pull a fresh mushroom, keep it on the tinfoil underneath something covered, it's pretty much going to be clean most of the time.
yeah,
I'm
yeah. As
pretty
long as you're clean to start.
right, and then pretty quick to go ahead and do it. Nice, deliberate, slow motion, so you're not stirring a bunch of stuff up in the air, and
Yeah,
seems to work for me. And like I said, you get the people that shove it up in the gill so hard that you're getting tissue, and you're going to get a clone that way instead of getting spores.
that's true.
Sometimes,
Well, you'll get a
and I
mix of it.
or a mix, right?
Yeah,
And then you don't know. Then you're not 100% sure if you get one or the other, and where do you go from there? I'd rather be sure of what I'm dealing with. So it just seems like to me that's a little bit easier way. That or scrape it off the print straight onto the agar. That works too.
yeah, dude. You're a fucking natural, Jason. Truly. There's a lot
Thank
of
you.
naturals in here. Fucking Moldavite. Joe fucking kills it. Jason kills it, from what I can see. You guys everybody here, RC, he's been doing it a long time. Melissa fucking kills it. Let's see, who else? Spencer fucking kills it. Spence is gone. John, obviously, he's like the grand master over here, black belt.
Eat, eat.
The fucking mushroom black belt over here.
I was gonna say with the prints, it's good the ones that you can get prints for them
Right,
because
right,
that's gonna be the cleanest way. But
right.
some
Yeah,
of them just won't
Don't
eject,
drop. That's right. Some
and
don't even drop spores, do they? Right.
yeah, and some are albino. The issue is a lot of people I think that are vending will swab fruits and they'll never check and see if there are actually spores.
yeah,
Right.
So
Right.
so you're getting swabs a lot of times that are just blue
They're
yeah.
and
sending out blanks.
there's
Yeah.
nothing on there.
Little
Right.
bit
They're
of
blanks.
alkaloids on there.
Yeah.
A little color, a little oxidation, and that's about it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um,
I die for your Q-tip. That's it.
yeah,
What?
I don't really get spores from anybody, to be honest. I just like don't have time. If I want to go back to spore, then I will if it's usually something that I'm working on. But I mean, I think it's good for everybody. Back in the day, you had no other option. Like a solid penis envy culture would go for like $500. You guys believe that shit? Even more. Like, yeah, expensive as hell.
Oh
And that
shit!
was if you could get somebody to even mention it on the shroomery. I'm talking
Woo!
like 2008. It was not easy,
Nowadays, folks are just sending them to you. Like, here, man, I got
dude.
this. Take this one.
Yeah, now
That's
it's like
nuts.
whatever. But back in the day, you'd have to jump on like mushrooms.com, or it used to be Hawkeye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got my first stuff from earthstongue.com. It's a website. It's still around, but they never carry any. They like have stuff listed, but it's always out of stock. But like that was 25 years ago or some shit.
They're in
And you
San
could get
Antonio,
you
right?
could do what?
They're in San Antonio.
I think so. And it
Yeah.
had like you could get the BRF cake jars is what I got, and like 2 syringes. I got like Amazonian and Tasmanian or something like that, or Cambodian. And I shot them all up and grew them in a tub with no FAE holes or anything. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Just shoved the vermiculite in there and sprayed them and shit, and got like 5 mushrooms off of each jar. But I was happy. I was like, "Woo! I grew mushrooms." It got me started. So then when I joined back now, like the love for it came back and bit me hard. So that makes it fun and makes you want to learn it.
The things we used to do to try and grow fucking mushrooms, man.
That and weed.
It was difficult, man. Times were tough.
Hmm.
Didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah, we had like one forum and that was it. And then, like you said, people were tight lipped back then, didn't really want to share the information. Like you had to really prod and poke to figure out what was real and what were people just kind of blowing smoke up your ass
There
because
was
they,
texts where it was like, you just put the rye berries in the fucking tub and they'll grow.
yeah, that's, yeah,
And
I
I was like,
know.
I remember my friend did that, and I was like, "What are you doing, man?" Because I had a little bit of experience, but he showed me the tech. It was on Arrowhead that he got it from, and I was like, "Wow, dude!" You know?
I literally had a mail order my for spores. Like I had to put
Yeah,
a check
same.
in the mail
Yep.
and mail it to Psilocybe fanaticus in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
had to be
that was the
super low
90s.
key.
It was like a
Um,
little index 3x5 note card or whatever.
yeah,
And
yeah, I
here's,
got mine out of a
here's
High
what I
Times
want.
magazine. Same sort of deal. I don't remember who it was from, but they sent me swabs and instructions on how to make a multi-spore syringe. Believe it or not, it was
Yeah.
like, damn, I have to make. Thinking about that now, like, it makes no fucking sense. And then they gave you a bag of
Right.
rye berries, and you had to make the substrate and stuff. But it was, yeah, I was successful.
Yeah.
I grew some big old fruits out of my first grow, big ones that I swear had no alkaloids. Like, I was so stoked. I was like, we're gonna trip so hard.
You
Everybody ate a
got
big old
nothing.
fruit and nothing.
Nothing. Duds.
Still to this day, that boggles my mind. I'm like, what were those? Because they were definitely cubes,
Right.
you know?
Just like some wild cubes. You know, you get like the cubes you get down here in Alabama in the field. You can eat like 30 of them in a night and not, and it's like you ate an eighth of shrooms or something, maybe two
Really?
grams. Yeah, they're just mild. It seems like once people put them on, like, start cultivating them at home from wild, they get stronger. But it's like in the field, you can shit. Yeah, we used to make pots with like 100 of them and, sit there and do shot glass cups full of it. But if you ate just the mushrooms, it seemed like they were a lot weaker than
Yeah, yeah.
homegrown
I
stuff.
think that so there was a study done years ago, and so your F1 from wild, say you grow out the wild, right? That's well, the mushroom that you got spores from, that's the parent culture, and the first one you grow out in captivity is always way more potent than the parent culture that you got from the wild, and the
Yeah,
future generations too. And they couldn't figure out why that original F1 was always so strong. So if you can get wild prints and grow those out, typically they're way stronger, just like that F1, as long as you're growing from wild spores.
right.
But I don't know. I've only done that once. That was actually just recently. My friend sent me a
Ooh,
swab from
do
Brazil.
you still have it?
Yeah, yeah. I posted
Can
a
you?
little
Can I
video on
purchase?
Instagram of them where I cut it. Really pretty, beautiful
Can,
shrooms, but they were
can I
way blue
purchase some
too.
of the spores from you?
Oh yeah, I can get you some spores. You
Yeah,
want
I'd
some?
like some. I'd like some so I could try crossing them with some of
That's
my
what I'm
other
doing
monos.
with them. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
mess around with it, see if I can find something I like.
I think I remember you posting them. They're pretty looking little
Yeah,
elf looking mushrooms,
yeah.
man. Real cool.
Really,
Real
really
cool.
light blue, but very blue. Blue
Yeah,
bruise
and real
really
real
fast.
cool looking. Yeah,
Yeah. And the person who actually ate those had a really, really positive trip report. So,
nice,
yeah.
nice.
But
I'm ready for my jockey. My jockey's looking good in that bag. It's
yeah, yeah,
they're
mine
they're
too.
turning yeah they're turning dark blue already. I was like, yee.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Which
Yeah,
one is the Shakti?
yeah, the Jack Frost times jockey. Yeah.
Oh, I had the Shakti ghosts that I ran a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and dude, I had a phenomenal trip on them, bro.
Did you
Like,
trip on it?
only like 2 grams, and typically I'm a little bit heavier. I go a little heavier than that, but I didn't know
Those
what
are
to expect.
strong, dude.
And for with 2 grams, man, I just had like just a phenomenal day. The whole day, like
Nice.
great mood, man. It was just like
Nice.
I wasn't seeing things. I didn't quite go that far, but you know, things were vibrating a little bit and kind of rotating a little bit. But for the most part,
Alive.
Yeah, I'm a lightweight, dude. At 2 grams, I'll go to like the DMT world and shit.
oh,
Mhm.
These days, I don't know. I think I've smoked too much DMT. I might have blown a gasket somewhere in here. And it's
I
just
had
like,
some Hales that
I'm a
did
little
that
heavy.
to me. Hales or whatever, the Hawaiian penis
yeah,
movies. I had some of those that I totally was in elf land. Like I was looking at Alex Gray paintings in my head. I was like, whoa.
yeah.
There was a big alien DJ sitting on a throne, and he was like, "Do you like my party?" I was kind
That's
of
what
like,
I'm
"Yeah,
talking about. Shit like
it's
that, like
fun."
alien DJs and shit.
Yeah, I was like, "It's fun. Yes, it's a good party. Thanks for inviting me." It was very welcoming, if you know what I mean. Felt like I was blanketed in love. It was a good time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Shucky Ghosts, you can go really deep on those. They're good. I like them.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question that's like a little bit off subject though. Um, so I got this bag that I set up the other day, and I've never had a bag look. And I'm relatively new to bags. I'm mostly tub tech, But this bag here, I don't know if you can see it, that I set up the other day, is just way more moist than any bag I've ever set up. I'm like on my 5th bag now, I think, 4th or 5th.
That looks good.
Yeah,
It just
it should be moist. And that's
puddling
what I
really
tell
bad.
people. It should be damn near raining in your tub or your bag at first, and as it
Yeah.
grows, those little pins will suck all that moisture right up, dude. Once they start growing.
Not bad to have it pooling down there like that.
Yeah, that's fine as long as it's not crazy. I never have an issue with it. If it starts to like show metabolites or something, then maybe get a little bit worried. But
If it does, should I just try to like right in front of the flow hood, like pour it out and
yeah,
hose it?
probably something like that. I wouldn't stick anything
Mm.
up and dab it out, honestly. I'd let it do its
No.
I would let it do
I
its
let-
thing, but dumping it out, just kind of emptying it was probably fine.
I've let mine ride, and they usually eat it up
Yeah,
eventually. Or
a
if
lot
they
of times
don't, it just doesn't hurt it.
Okay.
yeah, a lot of times just leave it the fuck alone. That's the answer. Let it ride.
Yeah,
In
that
my experience,
neglect
as long as
tech
it's
is
not moldy or if it's showing metabolites in there, really there's nothing you can do to reverse it. There's some sort of infection in there, and it's either gonna beat it or it's not.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing any metabolites. I think it's just a little bit, more moist than the other bag. And
you're good, Dan. Yeah, you're good.
Sometimes you'll spawn a tub or a bag, and it'll be at 99% humidity in there, right, for a day or two, and then for some reason it'll just dry out. And it's not because your cake's gone dry. I really think that like the mycelium, the block, can regulate the humidity. Like I feel like they literally know when to raise the humidity and when to preserve it. It's weird. Some tubs will be like the tub will have no moisture, and then one day, boom, it's raining in there because it's almost like it decides to sweat and create that environment so that it can fruit.
Well, that's
I've
kind of like
noticed that
why it
with
puts off that heat. You notice that it gets warmer when it's fully colonized or colonizing. That heat, you can feel it. Coming off the
Yeah.
bag.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, from the tub too. A lot of times,
Tubs too. Yeah.
if your
Right.
tub's not fruiting and it's taking too long, lift it up and feel underneath it. And if it's hot, it's still digesting and getting ready to fruit.
Right.
It'll really cool down when it fruits, and then as it digests all those enzymes and those carbohydrates prepared for its next flush, it'll warm up again. So, yeah.
Cool.
Any other questions? No? Cool.
No.
All right.
Now, real quick, I'm about to trip on Enigma this weekend with some friends. Dose?
What's that?
What dose do you recommend?
It was the
You get
Enigma that
back.
I gave you?
Huh?
It was Enigma that I gave you?
Yeah.
Um,
No light. You
Man, it's
won't
a
find your
slippery
room.
slope with that shit. Because if you take too little, it's really easy to take too little. Like say, oh, I'm only going to eat a gram. A lot of times, a gram of different mushrooms, you'll feel just fine. And then you take a gram of Enigma and you don't feel it at all. But with those other mushrooms, you felt fine on a gram. You take 2 grams, there's not much difference. But then you take 2 grams of Enigma and you can't find your bedroom in your fucking apartment.
Mm.
Like the whole
Oops.
world will disappear. So, I mean, I'd say,
I feel like I have a higher tolerance. Like I could do like 3.5 and
then do it.
Be
There you
careful.
so
go.
should I just do like
Famous
2?
last
Careful with what you
words.
2, yeah,
say.
start with 2. I'd say 2 grams. If
Famous
you've got a
last
2?
crazy
words.
high tolerance, start with 2.
You
No,
can
my friend
always
doesn't though. So should they do 1?
What's that?
I said my friend is a lightweight. So should they only do like 1 or 1.5?
1.5.
1.5.
Okay.
Always start with 1.5.
Yeah,
yeah, you can do it in tiers.
because 1.5 I think is safe to start with Enigma. Um, but then that sucks if you want to trip harder because then you take more and it's never the same. It's taking it all at once.
Yeah.
You'll be good with 2. I mean, I
Go ahead and
take
Okay.
take a
2 like,
quarter.
huh? You took
Say,
a
go ahead and
quarter?
take a quarter.
Oh, fuck.
I'm just kidding. No, don't do that. Do not do that.
I know
You're gonna be
people who can
God.
like eat a half ounce, with like decent
Yeah,
sugar,
that's insane.
but
That's
then they eat
insane.
a couple grams of Enigma and they come and talk. They're like, dude, what the fuck was that? You know, hardest I ever tripped. So
No.
I've
yeah,
yet to
what's that?
try Enigma. I need to do that because I
Have you done Enigma?
oh yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. You have a culture though, don't you? You'll get one. We'll get you one.
Hey, question. So, like on my diamond crosses, where like I cross Golden Teachers, which is a real mellow strain, with say like the Brainy Panther cream, um, how strong? Like, is that gonna usually up the strength of that cross? Like, would that
So
cultigen I end up
Brainy
with?
Panther
Hope.
cream isn't a heterokaryotic mycelium.
Oh, it's not.
No,
Damn it.
no. Yeah, that produces just dope fruits.
Okay, so but on like say if I did it with the Gandalf brains, or like where I put it with
I think it's probably I've never really crossed anything that doesn't have potency. So I wouldn't
gotcha.
be able to tell you, but I'd imagine I mean you look at just the more we domesticate a strain and cross it, the better it gets always. You know,
Okay, so
tidal wave is
la-
P plus and PE. And look how strong tidal wave is. Tidal wave's stronger than PE.
right. So last question. So God damn it, what was I about to say? Uh, so the brainy panther cream. What's the difference between it being like a mutation enigma that it's not an enigma? That's a fruit.
Yeah, it
I
grows
was
mushrooms. It's just
okay.
called
I was
brainy
thinking.
panther cream. There's different types of panther cream.
I got you. I was
There's
thinking that was the enigma one.
no.
Never
So
mind.
it's just called brainy panther cream. It's not actual brains. It's just
Gotcha.
because the cap is brainy. I don't know. That's not my.
Or-
So that's a mono carry on my wayward son. I got that swap from him, and he originally crossed Tat with Jack Frost, and it created just this really green leucistic fruit that are thick canopies, super heavy, fast fruiters, potent. They're the BPC, the Brainy Panther Cream. That shit's fire, dude. You'll like that one. But yeah, no, it
About
doesn't
to
produce blood.
transfer it back off, then transfer it to a new plate so I save it.
Yeah, yeah, that thing will just explode on the plate.
um iceberg right now. Is that a slow growing?
It's fast.
Okay.
Is it?
I'm
Did you get it
about yeah,
from
I'm
me?
about to No, I got from Miss Mush.
Okay, yeah. As far in my experience, I only have my strain, and it can vary from strain to strain, right? So, and when I say strain to strain, all iceberg, but whatever isolation that is with any mushroom. Every time you dig into a multispore, you've got 1,000 different phenotypes. Some of those could be fast, some of them could be slow. My iceberg is really fast. So
Yeah, I mean, it colonized the grain quickly, but then again, too, like I'm using Michael Alchemy when that's what she uses, so it like took to grain
yeah,
quickly. I mean, I have to get it to substrate because it's ready to go.
yeah. It's probably a fast brooder. Um, iceberg comes from Thai Lipa Yai, the Thai Cubenzi, which is really fast. So I'd
Yep,
imagine that
yep.
it's fast.
I have iceberg on a plate, and it was pinning like crazy within a couple of weeks. Big fat
Iceberg's dope,
pins.
man.
Yeah, that's the one I crossed. I did the DDK cross with Max 529, and I call it Makilla Ice.
Maquila Ice. Hell yeah.
Carmen, that's
Um,
what I'm growing right now. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
Ooh, shit! Those were big.
those are
oh,
for
I'm
me, right?
excited now.
Those were pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're yours.
yeah. They were pretty fast too, right?
Yeah, really, really fast.
Yeah,
Like probably a week and a half after I spawned the bulk.
yeah. Hell yeah, yeah. They're fast and they're big and they're potent. Hang on one second, guys. My little girl's knocking on my door. Yes, sweetie. Where's your mom? Okay, baby, I'm on the phone. Jada, listen. I'm on a phone call. Where's mom? Okay, tell her come up there. I'm coming at 40 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna come up before just a minute. Okay? You're welcome, Steve. They can see you. Okay. Take them up and kill it. I'm going to grab it at my porch. I'm going to cook it, okay? Okay, I love you. Yep, yep. I'll be right up, okay? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. She said she has a spider in her room.
Better go save her.
I know. I'm in a meeting. And she turns 5
Yeah.
tomorrow. She's butt
That's what you
naked.
got all those dogs for.
Huh? Yeah,
So
those
that's what.
dogs, man. They're spider hunters too. They definitely get the spiders.
That's like I got a little boxer Jack Russell mix, and she likes to get lizards in the summertime.
Oh
She's a
yeah, those are
lizard
dope.
hunter.
That sounds like a dope cross. What's up, Spence? I didn't see you. I got your bag, Mountain Mag, over here. I'm gonna shake it probably tomorrow. Did you hear me? I can't hear you. He's got to fix his microphone. Anyways. So, guys, this is what?
I get it, Vic. There it is. Yeah, man, I'm excited for that mountain mag.
Yeah. It's I think I'm
I
gonna
got
shake
the
it
other
tomorrow. It's
one.
looking good.
I got the other one yesterday, I think. Did you switch to whole oats?
Yeah. So I was kind of experimenting. It's not that I switched. It's that there's no fucking popcorn. I used all of the
Oh
popcorn in
yeah.
the valley, and then I tried to go to like feed popcorn, and it's just not as good as
Yeah,
the
it's a little slower.
food grade stuff. So I right now I'm using white wheat berries, which are really nice actually. They're not bad at all. I
What are
might
they?
just
Rye
stick to them.
berries?
What's that?
You said rye berries?
Wheat berries. So that it's just
Oh,
like
wheat.
rye berries, but they're small.
See, but don't.
Yeah, they're actually not bad at all. And I'm getting 50 pounds for $15. So
Yeah, that's nice. I started with rye berries, but I was having some stalled jars and didn't know if it was like hydration issues. So I recently, month and a half ago, switched to the whole oats, and those jars seem to be colonizing like crazy. I love it. But I
yeah,
still want to try millet and like wild bird seed and those type of things.
my
I'm
only
a
issue with the
popcorn
whole
guy. I
oats
stick
is
to the popcorn.
yeah.
Same bag, stalled bags on the rye berry. Same thing.
What's that, brother?
I said I had some stalled bags on rye
I
berries.
hear bad reports all the time, but then people who love them love them.
Yeah.
My only
They're
issue with
slow.
there's a lot of nutrients in rye berries, so they're actually wheat is the grain with the highest amount of carbohydrates. Oats is way low actually per weight. And if you think about it, carbs are really what feeds your mushrooms to grow.
Right, the sugar, right?
But I mean, probably not going to see much of a difference, you know. My only issue with the oats is 1 pound in a bag is like worth 2 pounds of popcorn or
Right.
anything
Well,
else that like fills the whole bag. You know, 3 pounds is like a giant bag of oats.
right. For me, popcorn's just consistent. I get good results.
You're using
Fast
oats?
colonization. No popcorn, and
Oh
I
yeah,
just get I
popcorn's the
get
shit.
yeah I get fast colonization. I haven't lost a jar yet. I lost one bag, but that's because I opened it twice to put another cut of the same culture in there, kind of speed it up. And that was my dumbass fault. But
Yeah,
as far as jars, I haven't lost a jar yet. So knock on wood.
yeah. I mean, if you sterilize it, you should be good.
Yeah,
A lot of times, you know, you're trying to figure out what the issue is, and it's probably not your sterile grain. It's probably something else, you know, in
yeah,
reality. But when people are beginning and they're figuring it out, they're figuring out what grain tech they're going to use for what grain, you know, figuring out what works best for them. A lot of times it's easy to say, oh, it's something with this grain or it's this or that. But really, as long as you're sterilizing your grain
yeah.
for at 15 psi for an hour and a half,
Well,
the issue isn't going to be the grain. It's something else, you know?
right, something else in your growth. Yeah, see, like for me, I do the popcorn. I simmer it for like an hour, dry it for about an hour, and then PC it for like an hour and a half,
Yeah,
and it comes out good every time. And I mean, I'll throw a little coffee on it, and seems
yeah,
to work wonderful.
yeah. I like popcorn. Once you figure out how to work one grain, stick to that fucking grain because there's always a learning curve when switching to something else. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of recently have learned though because I had to switch to oats and do the white wheat berries, which I'd never touched. Basically, I do the exact same thing I do with popcorn as far as hydration. I just do it for way less time because popcorn is really heavy and thick.
Hmm.
It takes really a lot of heat and pressure to get that moisture to penetrate into the kernel. Whereas
Yeah.
something like oats or wheat, once the water's boiling, I strain it and it's good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Whereas popcorn, I'll let it sit at 15 psi for 10 minutes to hydrate it, you know? But it also depends on where you're at as far as elevation. If you're lower, closer where you are, closer to sea level, it takes way less time to hydrate your popcorn.
So you hydrate your in the PC. You don't pre rinse it or pre simmer it or anything in a on a pot.
No, not my
You
food
just put
grade
enough
stuff.
water in the jar that it'll do it when you throw it in the PC.
No. So I dump popcorn in my pressure cooker, just popcorn. Then I fill it up with
Oh,
water 3 inches above it, throw a
do it that
handful of
way.
gypsum in there, put the lid on, put the weight on, let it rock for a few minutes, pull the weight. As soon as the lock comes down, dump it. Perfect
That's way
popcorn.
quicker than what I'm doing. Like yeah, that's definitely way faster than what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do,
That's
and
Yeah, yeah,
way
it works
faster.
great.
That
yeah.
could save me like 40 minutes. So I'm gonna do that next go round.
Yeah. But you're sea level, so remember you don't need to do it for as long.
So
Maybe
maybe 5, 10 minutes.
let it hit temperature. Once it hits 15, pull the weight. If
Gotcha.
you're
So
closer
as
to
soon
sea
as it
level.
rattles, yank it. Gotcha.
Yeah. Unless if your stove
Or turn it
is
down
like
at least.
electric and it takes a long time to heat up,
It does take it 30 minutes to get that
yeah,
weight
then let it
rocking.
hit 10 psi and pull it.
Okay,
The
gotcha.
stoves,
That
if
sounds
you have
good.
a gas stove and it's shooting flames and it's heating it up way fast, let it rock for a
No,
sec. Yeah.
this one takes 30, 35 minutes to get going. And
Yeah.
then, then I cut it back. But I can also pull the weight, set it for 10, and then just rock it till that starts to go and then turn it off.
Yeah.
Take
Um,
it off the heat source.
yeah. See, there's levels to this shit. There's layers, man. When somebody asks me how to do grain, I'm like, man, it's not that simple. You got to figure it out, you know?
Oh, I fucked up my first 2 batches bad, but then it's a learning curve, and I was like, okay, well now I know how to do it right, and so
Well, you
then I
did it
did it
better
right.
than me. I fucked up my first 100 batches.
Shoo,
You know,
shit.
it took me a long time to figure out how to get my grain right.
Yeah.
But
It is something that's like it's if you need to get it right, like you said, and if you get it right and then you get it where you work with the same thing over and over, it gets consistent, it becomes easy, becomes something that's just second nature, and then you can just do it
yeah,
and you're good to
why
go.
switch it up, right? Why switch it up to
Right.
mess it up?
Right, exactly. I never understood somebody that changes something that's working. Like I know a guy that I watch that does fishing videos, right? It's kind of off subject, but he'll catch a 5 pound fish on a lure and then he'll be like, I'm gonna throw something else, see if I can catch fish. Like, dude, you just caught a 5 pounder on that lure. Throw that fucking lure.
Yeah.
Like,
If it ain't broken, don't
like
fix it, right?
that's my point. So you growing something good, dude, grow it good, dude. Do what you gotta do.
Yes, sir.
It's like when I did my little experiment where I rehydrated them old golden teacher cakes that put out like a little weak sixth flush, and I gave them a bunch of sugar water, and everybody's telling me, "You can't do that. You can't do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I can do
Yeah,
that.
that's
I'm gonna do
crazy that you
that."
did that. That's wild.
And it pumped out another ounce plus because it was And if I wouldn't have done that, I'd have just thrown them blocks out. No, so that's
Yeah,
the ones that I cloned the actual block just so I had it. Cause I was like, man, if it lasts that damn long, that culture's got to be good.
yeah,
you know.
yeah. People are doing stuff like that's the type of stuff that I never even thought people could do. I would tell you, don't do that. You're gonna contaminate for sure, you know?
And it did contaminate on the next flush, but I mean, I still got over an ounce
Yeah.
extra out of it that I would have not had if had I not done that. And I just added straight table, sugar, and added it to water. Took a syringe, injected it till it looked soaked. Did that once before it pinned, once after it pinned, and then once right before they fully matured. And I mean, I had a 53 gram golden teacher, which is huge. biggest one out of the whole grow came at the very end
There's
because I
got to
added
be
that
a
sugar
way to
water.
make a never-ending cake,
That's what I'm thinking.
something
I'm
that
thinking
fruits
like that's
forever.
kind of like an LC feed that if you can keep it clean, then if you can find a way to keep it clean, you can feed it and get it to go 7, 8, 10 flushes. I bet.
I
You know,
thought
and
I
I'm
thought a lot about this actually. You would have to have some sort of contraption. It would definitely be an expensive piece of equipment that you fruit
yeah,
in, but you would grow it in a kind of like like we were talking earlier, like a water agar.
it's something that could filter and clean
It's that
itself almost.
constantly has nutrients being pumped
Right,
into it.
right,
Um,
right.
Definitely, it's not
That's worth something to
impossible.
pursue in the future, you know. That's
Yeah,
to me. I love experimenting. Like I said, when people were telling me I couldn't do that, I was like, I'm laughing all the way to the dehydrator, baby, because I'm gonna do it, and it worked. And I knew it would, because I was like, if that's what we use to keep cultures going in a liquid culture is just sugar, basically honey, corn syrup, then why wouldn't it work for extending the life of a block? And the guys were like, well, it's not out of nutrients. And I said, well, if it's only producing thin, little, skinny, dying mushrooms that don't even mature, that's a sign that it's out of nutrients, in my opinion. So I'm going to throw something on there. And if I could pull one extra flush, why not? And back then I was only able to run one at a time. So if I could pull extra off that one, why not? You know, actually, it was the heaviest flush out of all seven.
Yeah, people were spraying fermented extracts onto your uh,
Mhm.
like labs, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that could be another. Well,
Right. For sure.
John does crazy unorthodox shit. John's substrates are wild. I When he told me what he was doing, I'm like, there's no way, man. But
Yeah.
he's a pioneer as well.
Putting like orange pills in there, making them taste like oranges and shit.
Dude, his substrate is
Nah.
hot. That's all I can tell you. It's hot.
I've
Like,
uh I've experimented a lot with a
There
lot of
you go.
different things.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
So I
Anybody
have
ever put coffee directly in their substrate? I wonder if that would work, or would that just contam out like crazy?
I have.
Have you?
It
Yeah.
causes problems generally, but
That's what it
it
says. I
prevents
would think it
flushing.
would probably. Yeah, I would think it would cause an issue probably with contam or giving them something to feed on, so that it would just let them have a chance to grow out of control.
Yeah. What are you saying, John?
Sorry, John. I didn't mean
I
to interrupt you, man. My bad.
Nah, you're fine. I was just saying I've experimented with a lot of different substrates, grown cubes on Masters Mix and a lot of different things. But right now it's pretty much pelletized straw and what is it, alfalfa pellets and a couple other things.
Hmm.
But I mix it up. It depends on the time of year and what I have available, what I can get. Um, Another one I like is just like garden soil and then put some chopped straw in there. Put
Mhm.
some, what is it, peat moss. Do one part of each of those and then just throw some erythritol, some coffee grounds, and stuff like that. Hydrate it and then do the ultra high temp pasteurization and it runs good.
That's the one, man. Especially I've noticed for my manure because I've been doing pans. The flash heat, the ultra pasteurization tech, man, it's the one. It's really easy to fuck up your substrate with poo in it.
It
Oh,
is.
what kind of pan varieties do you have? Because I just pulled a potential monocarian from my TTBVI, but I don't have any
Um,
other pan spores. I have pan on plates, but I don't have any spores.
I've got MIB, I've got TTBVI, Pan King.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So you have some I could get, then choose. I
I
could
don't have any
choose from.
spores, but I can get you a culture. I
Oh
actually,
well, I've got cultures. I just don't know how to grow them out yet. I mean, I guess I could. I'm gonna learn, but
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Neck D. I was
I've
running the
got like.
Pan King and I fucked up. I haven't ran pans in definitely over a year. And my fogger hose, they were going great. I was going to have the most beautiful flush. I was going to take a picture. And then somehow the hose came loose and was spraying directly
Disconnected.
on my trays and it flooded them and aborted all my
Uh,
fucking pins.
uh,
So I'm running it
that's
again, running it back.
Yeah, I have let's see, I have the Estro, however you say it, and then the Bisporus Washington are the other ones I have. So I have
Nice.
two other versions that I can grow out. I just gotta like I figure I don't know. I've heard you can do it on like I know you. A lot of them say you need some sort of field aged manure, but also I heard you could just do straw and cocoa coir or like brown rice flour
You can just use
straw.
berm and cocoa core, I think, as
Really,
long as it's somewhat of a domesticated variety.
it is. It's been
Yeah,
ran
then
many
then
times,
you can. So it might not want to grow, but manure definitely helps.
but it helps to also have like a humidifier, putting a little extra moisture in there and stuff, right?
Oh, you've got to have a fogger,
Okay, gotcha.
and you've
Like a
got to have
reptile
fresh
tank
air
of tank
exchange.
fire.
It's
Gotcha.
basically got to be like it's outside as far as airflow goes.
I know a little fan, maybe a little like computer fan or something,
Yeah, I'll
little
show you
small
my
fan.
tech. It's really easy,
Okay,
and I have just tubs that I dial in. I use a reptile fogger, or you
that's what.
can
Yeah,
just buy the little foggers, and then put them in a jar or something. It would attach a hose.
yeah. Yeah.
It's really easy, but I mean, you've got to
'Cause I'm
dial it in.
I'm gonna put some to grain soon, so I can because I'm gonna like I said, I have those other three other ones, two or three other ones I can do.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah.
make a
Um,
post about that?
Huh?
You think you can make a post about that at some point?
You guys want to do it? Yeah, I can.
yeah, I'd love to learn about the exotics a little more for sure.
Yeah, I'm
The
actually I've
wood
got some
lovers.
Pampanenses that are about ready to be spawned,
Ooh, I just
and
put
some
some
more
ATL.
cyans.
I
So
just put some
I'll
ATL
record the
seven
whole
to a
thing.
plate.
What's that?
I just put some of that ATL seven, the Gandandoy, Gallandoy, however you say it.
Yeah,
It
Gandoli.
produces. Yeah, that one. I just put that to a plate. I'm waiting for it to germinate because it produces sclerotia.
Truffles. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
So
yeah,
you're gonna
correct
make
truffles.
truffles.
I
yeah.
haven't
My
had them
Gallindoli
before, so
produces sclerotia on the plate.
that's what I'm hoping. Well, I mean, this I don't. I'm not going to spawn it. I'm just going to do it in a big bag. But I mean,
Yeah,
do what?
I like the fruits are way more potent.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
I need to try for fruits then.
the
Yeah.
truffles are really pleasant. They're really clean. You got to eat more of them. They taste like shit, dude. You got to
I
like
know. I
have
heard.
something like
It
maybe
tastes
make
like
a tea or
rotten
something.
pecans.
Grind them up, put them in
Ew.
capsules, boy. That's the only way to fly.
Yeah, but
I
cubes
heard that you have to eat them fresh though, the truffles.
they taste better
So
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah, I heard
Well,
that
they're
too.
yeah,
not as hard too. You might break a
yeah.
tooth if
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
dry.
Ooh.
yeah.
I'm
Fucking
hoping.
hard.
Well, yeah, I'm going to an expo next month, um, here in
Oh, that's
California.
cool.
So I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure they're going to be handing them out because Agar Boy is throwing it and he grows a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. Truffles are cool. They're,
Yeah.
I mean, any species besides cube. Cube is like, before we started cultivating it here in the West, it was like the one shroom that people just didn't eat. In Mexico, I mean, you look at history, they thought that it was dark. And cubensis inherently are dark compared to other species for sure. They really take,
Can be
I
for
feel like
sure.
they're a lot heavier on your brain and the minerals. John can attest to that as well.
They're a
Just the
lot
body
heavier
load,
than
the joint pain.
Natalensis.
Whereas, the exotics, the Mexican exotics and the pancyans and different things, there's none of that comes with it. And as far as like, the unpredictability, that's pretty much completely gone. It's, more of an anti-anxiety versus, cubes. It's like, hold on. Who knows where
Mm-hmm.
we're going?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, cubes are great. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean to talk shit on my favorite mushroom, but
No, they're great. Like you said, I want to experience the gnat and the like cyan buzz, wavy cats or something. I have them, but like I haven't tried them yet. So
and see,
I have
wavy
that.
cat, that's a different story too because they have aeruginosin. It's the green color, right? That cubes are now producing, and that's what causes the wood lovers paralysis. Those can be really heavy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Wood lovers are different than the dung lovers.
They can be more of like a body load and more.
Very
I don't
heavy.
know.
I
Yeah, I'm
mean,
not
you
into
eat some
that.
azarescens, yeah, it can paralyze you for 20, 30 minutes before
No,
you
no,
start
thank
to
you.
trip.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I've had
I
a
don't
lot of
need.
trips on blue meat.
I'm not trying to feel like I'm on ketamine. No thanks.
Right.
Yeah,
I know.
fuck
I
ketamine.
don't
That
need.
shit's so whack. Everybody's like obsessed with that
I
stuff.
know. Oh, and I don't like it
No,
because
it's
it's
a
something
trip.
that for somebody
I
who had
love it.
addiction problems, it can make people. You can abuse it too easy. It's
Yeah,
not.
they're like,
fucking
it's not
love that
addictive.
shit.
I'm like, whatever,
Yeah,
man. You're
bullshit.
addicted. You're like
Bullshit.
injecting that shit, dude. Like
Yeah,
you're
you're
addicted,
Yeah.
man. You
banging a
got a
gram of
problem.
that shit. Don't tell me it's not addictive.
Yeah,
I work in the medical field, so I see people on it all the time, and I'm
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm good.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
I'm
have
straight
like
on that.
physical withdrawals. I have a cousin who
Yeah,
has
for
like
sure.
withdrawals.
Different from
Yeah.
the
Yeah, they don't know how to treat that shit either.
Yeah, yeah. I like Molly,
I mean,
but like
yeah,
people
that's
don't like
fun.
Molly anymore. They just want to do ketamine.
You got to if you can get it clean. I love it if you can get it clean. It's just
Oh
hard to get
yeah,
it
Oh,
clean. Or,
I only
yeah.
fuck with the best shit.
Well, then, yeah, I want some.
You have to come through, man, someday.
I,
Hook you
yeah, I
up.
will. I'm gonna look. My brother lives in Salt Lake. I'm gonna come up there and visit him. I'll come see you when I come up there.
Salt Lake's awesome, man. I love it here.
How far are you from Salt Lake? You're not. You're close, aren't you? Or in Salt Lake?
I'm just
Are
barely
you,
outside the city, like 15
all
minutes.
right. Well, we'll get up. We'll get up because I'm gonna come see him soon. So
Yeah, I mean, if you come out here, we're not staying in the city. We're hitting the woods.
no, no, we'll go do some fun shit,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Utah's. It's not about the city here. It's about the
No,
outdoors. You
hell
know.
no. I'm an outdoors guy, anyways, bro. I'll bring my kayak. We'll go do something fun.
Yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. I'll show you what's up. We'll go to some
That's
underground lakes and shit.
yeah. Do it.
All right, guys. I'm gonna do this transfer though.
I'm gonna go to bed. I'll see you guys next class.
Ha. Night, Jay.
Have a
Night,
good
guys.
Okay. Let's see. Maximize. Cool. Everybody see that? We got carried away, man. We were just partying.
Mhm.
So, two different crosses from the same strains. These are both Steel Magnolia tidal wave crosses from four different monokaryons, though. And you can see the difference in the phenols. So just because you have a monokaryon from a strain doesn't mean that it's going to act the same as the next monokaryon. That's why it's important when you're collecting monos, collect as many as you can, because chances are the one that you've isolated isn't going to be the best one. So I'm going to go like this, cool these down. Then I'm going to grab this one. And then there's this egg looking one that looks really cool. It's a dino egg growing on the agar. And these ones are cool because they have that, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's like that taupe white hat. And then this one looks very Steel Magnolia. But so it's as easy as that when you're transferring a pin from agar. If you guys saw that, hopefully. Everybody saw that? It looked good?
So you tweezers. That's it.
You saw it?
Yep.
Cool.
yeah.
All right. Okay, so a lot of people have left. Anyways, any questions, guys? Nah, that was fun, man. Glad that more people showed up this time. Well, I think it was just last time it might have been a little bit, not as many, but that's cool. I'm glad that you guys, RC, glad you're here. Joe, Melissa, appreciate you guys. John and Moldavite. And yeah, we'll probably just do the same time next week unless somebody gives me different input. That sound good?
Good.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Hit me up anytime.
Thank you.
Instagram's usually the best place. You guys know.